Hello and welcome back to the Pocket Network podcast. I'm your host, Margarita Petrosian, and each week we sit here, we talk about the industry changes, common challenges, and how you can innovate your world. This week, I'm sitting here with Edward Hakobyan, the CEO of the world's leading social and networking platform that's solely for real estate professionals. And we have so much exciting content for you today. We're going to do it a little bit different today. So first, I'd like to say welcome back, Edward.
I'm glad to be back.
We always love having you on.
Yes. And I love watching all the podcasts too. It's super interesting what you've done and all the guests you've brought on. So
amazing.
I know
we've had amazing guests.
Yes, definitely. I know we're going to be shifting a little bit of what you've been doing to maybe current trends and market information. So it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Yes. Yeah. So today we'll, for everyone watching at home, what you can expect. So we'll be talking about the market since, things have never been, well, not never, they haven't been like this for a long time with the big shift. We'll talk about what agents are doing or what you should be doing as an agent to overcome the challenges in the next year or so and how you can come out on top. We'll talk about how you can actually leverage the pocketnetwork.com so that you can make sure that over the next year or two, that you can stay in the industry, first of all. And then at the end, when finally all of the people are weeded out that weren't serious about doing real estate as a job.
When the dust settles.
Exactly.
Right.
So then you scoop up all that business and you'll be doing better than ever before. Just make sure to listen, to take advantage of all the tools offered to you. And as always, at the end, just let us know what's worked for you, what you're going to take advantage of, or other recommendations that you may have. Come on the show and we'll talk with you too. Okay, Edward. So the market. How is the market? The big question.
The big question, right? The big elephant in the room. I mean, it's clear what it is. It's everywhere, from the big headlines to the talk between the realtors and the mortgage lenders and everybody, right? So, it's clearly going downhill. But there's a lot of different stuff that we're seeing compared to, the 2008 real estate market crash and a lot previous ones as well. As we all know, inflation is a big issue right now. And with the Fed raising the interest rates, I believe 3 times this year with another 2 more on the way, that raises the interest of everything, right? Your credit card interest change, your savings account interest goes up, and obviously mortgage interest rates are affected by that. So the main factor of why there's been a slowdown is because of the high mortgage rates, right? The affordability has dropped drastically from within literally 10 months. I believe the numbers were like the affordability, you're paying about 46% more now than you would have been paying in January for the same priced home in just a matter of 10 months, right? So the upswing in the rates that we've seen now has been the quickest we've seen in history. But again, it's not, the issue isn't directly the real estate market. It's the economy in whole, right? Mm-hmm. So, you got a lot of people talking about the whole crash itself, or, the real estate is going to crash and burn, and we're going to see 50% declines in home values and purchases. But I don't see that being the case because it's over dramatized by mainstream and the big headlines, right? Everybody just reads the headlines, but nobody really goes in, and they don't realize when they're reading the headlines and they click to go into it, they're just getting sold the advertisings on the side, right? But the information is there. You just have to read through it. Mm-hmm. But that's what it is. Yeah, mainly, I mean, it's inflation and which is causing a huge uptick in affordability because now
in everything, just homes.
Exactly, because now right, it costs you more to buy groceries and even rent has gone up too. Say you're renting, so your necessities have gone up so much more. So you don't have extra money laying on the side to pay for clothes or vacation or the stuff you don't necessarily need.
And people aren't getting paid that much more.
Exactly. So yeah, of course, balance. Compared to it, the salary, the rates haven't gone up as much as wages haven't gone up as the inflation has. So that's a big issue there. So it's a combination of many things. My point is, the real estate market isn't going to crash and burn like everybody, tries to put it out there because again, it's a combination of multiple factors.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Fed continuously increasing the rates. that's what's going to save us from crashing and burning, because how much higher could everything have went? Aren't they using that as a tool to stabilize the economy?
Well, what they do is in a normal economy, if everything is going smooth, they lower the interest rates, right? There's a lot more money in the economy. There's a lot more transactions flowing, generally speaking. And then once they notice costs are rising, they raise the interest rate so that they can basically pull the brakes on the economy so that it doesn't go over and go over the hill, basically. So they're just raising the mountain even more and more so that the spending doesn't add up as much, and it doesn't result in a crash of whatever it is, either stock market or real estate market or whatever that specifically you're talking about. So that's mainly their job. So what they're doing is I believe the past 2 or 3 times they've raised it, they've risen it 0.75 basis points, which is 0.75 of 1%. Which is drastic. I mean, I recently did a video on my Instagram and showed the difference between $1 million purchase in January compared to $1 million purchase now. And it was, you're paying about $1,600 more, excluding any taxes or fees in just 10 months. So their job specifically is to do that, right? They want to keep the Fed's job is to keep a balanced market, balanced inflation rate, right? Which is what, 2 to 3%, I guess they aim for. And if either they lower it to stimulate it, or they raise it to pull the brakes on it. So that's their main.
Okay, so Powell, he's I think the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
Yep.
So he was saying how with the way that the prices were accelerating, it was completely unsustainable. So that's him explaining the increase in the rates recently.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everybody saw it, right? So what properties were going above asking, much above asking, depending on what market you're in. And once they started raising the interest rates, well, when that happens, buyers start pulling back because it's going to cost more to purchase the home. And then while the interest rate was rising, so was inflation. We've been at about tethering around 8 to 9% for the previous months, which is like ridiculously high. So while people are noticing, oh, you know what, I may really not be able to afford that house. It comes down to, also the cost of the house is going up along with it. So, it was not sustainable by all means, and that's what they're doing. I mean, it's simple. They've been raising the interest rates, and that's the fallback behind it. Buyer demand has gone down, and the affordability has gone down. So a lot of things have trickled into it. And I believe he himself said that there needs to be a correction in the housing market. Now, there's no defined term for correction as far as housing. There is in the stock market. I believe it's like 10 to 20%. If it adjusts 10 to 20%, there's a correction in the stock market. But there's no defined term for the housing market. But he did say we do need a correction in the housing market, which makes sense. I mean, looking at the previous years, it was insane what was going on. So, a lot of people are fine with it, to be honest with you, and what he's saying. If hopefully the people that purchased recently don't go under on their home values if the prices drop a lot, but it's normal. It happens. Recessions or well, we're technically not in a recession, but by the technical terms, we are. If there's 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, we're technically in a recession. And last one was in 2008, and then the one prior to that was in 2003, I believe. And it's basically, so it happens, the trend happens about every 10 years, right? Every 10 years we see something like this happens. Inflation rises, interest rates rise, and something needs to happen in the market for it to correct itself. Now,
so what is that something they're looking for before they can balance out these interest rates?
Well, that's what it is. They've already pulled the brakes hard enough. And I believe a reporter asked him if they're going to deliberately crash the real estate market. And there's some technical terms as far as the mortgage-backed securities and the buybacks of it. But he simply said, no, we're not going to crash it. And that's absolutely off the question, because they believe what they're doing is already working, which we can see. I believe first time in August was the first time since 2021 March that we saw lower sold price to list price ratio throughout the U.S. We've been seeing it a little earlier in specific areas, but on average throughout the U.S., there's been lower sold prices than list prices, which is stating, now buyers have more negotiation because there isn't 30 offers on the property. There's only maybe one or two. People
don't know what's going to happen in the future.
So people, they don't, of course, you never know what's going to happen. But again, what I tell all my buyer clients is if you're ready to buy at any given point, if it makes sense at that point and you can afford that 30-year term or 15-year term, whatever you can, and you can for that full term at that price, then go ahead and do it. It makes sense. It doesn't make sense if you say, I'll refinance later. Well, you don't know when, if at all, or
for
when
the people
it'll
that
go
said
down.
That 2 years ago and were relying on refinancing now, probably wouldn't work in their favor.
Well, 2 years ago, the rates were really low. So I highly doubt it's going to go to like 1% or 1.5% for people to refinance their 2.5% loan.
Exactly.
But
so you can't rely on that refinance.
Of course not. No, that you can't time the market at all, because if you time the market to buy it now, you're paying higher interest rates. And when the market is in a seller's market, your interest rate may be low, but your the purchase price is going to be through the roof. So you can never time it, especially with buyers, is you buy when you can and when you think is right. So,
but I have to say the advantage of this market is that for people who do have that dispensable income, that they have the savings already to make sure that they can afford this home, even if everything does crash. Let's say they have enough where they can keep up the mortgages on the home they're going to buy. It's better because you don't have as much competition. If you find that dream home and you have that money set aside, you can buy it now, and maybe you won't be able to refinance in the next year or two if the rates continue to rise, which hopefully they don't. But in the future, you can balance those out if that's the only thing stopping you from purchasing. So that there's always an advantage for someone out there.
Exactly. It's a case by case basis. It's situational, right? If it makes sense for you as a buyer at that time, then go ahead and pull the trigger. I mean, it's a lot easier now because you don't have to negotiate so hard and put so much more than you really want to or it's really worth.
And there probably isn't 60 offers in one day.
Exactly. And which is interesting too. There still isn't that much supply yet. What we're seeing is a lot of the builders that have they've been working through the shortages of the supply. They're slowly starting to finish up their jobs, the jobs that they're doing, the homes that they're building. So that's gonna slowly hit the market. But in real terms, you would expect there to be more supply.
Why?
Because there's not as much demand.
Okay.
Right. So when there's supply and demand, if there's more demand.
So you're just comparison, not necessarily more homes than there were in the past.
Exactly. Well, it's about the same, but the supply is about the same than it has been in the previous months. But the demand has dropped a lot. So you would expect when the demand drops and the supply skyrockets, or vice versa, when the demand skyrockets, the supply drops, which we've been seeing. But the supply has been staying about the same, but the demand has dropped. So I'm expecting, maybe once the winter passes, early 2023, the supply is going to jump up a lot. Do
you think maybe people aren't listing their homes because they think that if they wait a little, they can get more value for it? That could possibly be why. I
mean, possibly if some sellers sat through these 2 years and then now they're hitting themselves on the head. If they really didn't need that house, that, I should have sold. So they're listing their homes expecting to get, the offers that they were a year ago, right? Which it doesn't happen anymore. You rarely get 2, 3, 4 offers if it's like an insane priced property. So those sellers are starting to realize that the bus left already. You can't take advantage of that market anymore. And they're listing their home. Days on the market are going up every single month for like the past 6 months already in the market that I'm in, at least. So it's there. The issue is there. The demand has dropped. Mortgages dropped like a freaking, I don't know. Let me see. I have the
numbers. We have the numbers.
I pulled it. So in who is this? CNBC reported that home buyers' demand for mortgages dropped 4% this is last week, and was 38% lower than the same week a year ago.
Incredible.
Okay? According to the Mortgage Bankers Association, applications to refinance a home loan fell 7% compared to the previous week, and the demand was 86% lower than the same week 1 year ago, which makes sense, right? I highly doubt anybody still has a 9-10% interest rate on their home.
Yeah.
You know, that's like ridiculous if you still have it and you haven't refinanced in the past 2 years. But right now, we're probably we're around the 7% interest rate for a 30-year mortgage. Who's going to finance a 7, you know, doesn't make sense. Only if you have a 8-9% mortgage, which I highly doubt people have and could refinance. So refinance business is like basically zero at this point. And the people who were focusing there, the bankers that were focusing their business there have basically don't have any business now.
Exactly. So that's one thing that I've been hearing popping up a lot, because there were some people that just wanted, I guess you can call it the easy way out. Right. So they were just focusing on refinancing. But this is why you need to keep your portfolio so diverse, because you never know what the market's going to bring. You never know which area will be stronger in your business. So you have to make sure that you support every aspect of your business equally, no matter how difficult some areas are than the rest.
Of course, you got to diversify. I mean, I know people that open businesses within businesses to support one another, you know, the other stuff. So you always those were not smart lenders. Let me tell you that. Whoever did focus on refinances and said, you know, forget about the new purchases, and then now their new purchases are down the drain, and their refinance people don't even call for refinances. So they're basically out of business at this point. If first they haven't saved money to cover their ass when business got slow because they were making a ton of money past 2 years, and second, if you know they haven't diversified their business and their clientele to make sure there is that, because you know homes are still getting sold regardless. We didn't go to zero, which it doesn't happen, but so you know mortgage officers are still making money, but there's now you're not making as much.
It's a drastic difference.
Exactly. So.
And then especially for people who are used to spending all the income they received every month. And that's another thing. You touched on the businesses who were making a lot and now all of a sudden aren't, but also hello, real estate, you are the business. So your own personal finances, you have to make sure you figure out a way how to either invest your money or to save it in a smart way so that when something like this happens, you will be able to ride the wave and still continue to focus on your real estate business. You're not going to have to get into a completely new career just to pay your bills. So if you can ride out this wave for the next year or possibly a little bit longer, and just live off of your savings, if you're not getting any clients at all, hopefully you're still getting clients here and there to sustain your living. But just make sure if you hadn't done that you do that now. We talked about this actually with Alina Muradian on a previous podcast on how you have to be very smart because the market isn't always going up. If it's increasing, then one day it will decrease. So you need to make sure you take care of your finances personally.
Yeah. I mean, it's like personal finance 101, right? Spend less than you earn, right? And then especially in good times, you gotta not, go over your head and say, oh, I made so much money now. That means I can spend so much more because you're a business, right? You're not getting paid to show up. You're getting paid to produce. So once your production falls, then so does your money. So you had to have been smart, especially now where times are going to be tough. A lot of realtors aren't going to be closing 10, 15 transactions a month anymore. It's going to be a couple. And that makes a huge difference. Yeah. Absolutely huge difference. You can still live off of it, but if you're used to spending, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a month, and it's not going to work for you.
That's not going to happen anymore. And even if you still can, you probably shouldn't because you don't know what's going to happen in the coming months. Just be a little more conservative with your spending if it's for pleasure. But if it's necessities, obviously you can't help but keep spending the way you did. Or even, so once you figure this out on your own, the way that you would be able to advise your clients, I think that also changes. So that some people right now, they're willing to spend their entire paycheck on their mortgage and have their partner or whoever else they live with cover all the other necessities. So at a time like this is when you realize that that's probably not the best way to buy a home. That's probably not a best way to invest your money into something. So maybe you'll be able to counsel your clients better after this.
Well, that's what happened. A lot of people started the demand went up, right? So a lot of people literally started stretching themselves thin and it's okay, I'll pay for it. And a lot of people, they didn't really plan for the future where if they were business owners or they were working. What the good thing is that the unemployment hasn't gone up. at least yet. I don't know if it will or not, but so people aren't losing their jobs, which is good. So there's not going to be too much foreclosures and people won't be losing their homes, but you just never know. So you can't be stretching yourself so thin.
But also unemployment has not went up, possibly because so many people were quitting their jobs. There was that huge wave of people just quitting their jobs.
Yeah, well, the government like to pay for people's stuff. So that's what sort of happens when government gets involved in personal finances. But so it's again, it's weird. It's very interesting times. But as far as the business standpoint, you definitely got to be prepared for the lows, which we're going to be heading into very soon.
Yeah. So the other day we were talking and you mentioned the decline in single family homes. Did you mean, I don't remember exactly what our conversation was, but was it the sale of the single family homes or building?
The buildings.
The building. So do you think that's because more people are trying to become investors, or is there a reasoning behind that?
No. Well, the builders see the data, right? And I know the data from the National Association of Home Builders, they work with companies that build like thousands of homes a year, not from the mom and pop, contractors that do a couple. So they see the data. They see that, okay, once this home is complete, how long it takes to sell, what type of loans the families are getting, what type of families so they see a lot of data. And, like I said, we sort of mentioned it previously, how the supply chain backups have eased, and there's a lot more construction material available. So soon the homes will be starting to hit the market a lot faster. But on the flip side, not as much permits are being pulled for new construction. Yeah. So they're seeing that all their homes are staying on the market longer. So I noticed some places. Specifically, I believe I read some research from Rockwall County, Texas. Okay. They had maybe like a couple months ago, they had 43,000 active permits that had been pulled. Yeah. And there were about 80,000 homes waiting to be completed.
Incredible.
So, and this
just
is
in one city?
County.
Okay.
In one county. It's a little north of Dallas. So can you just imagine in that area, how many homes are going to be hitting the market and quite possibly will be empty for such a long time? Yeah. And the home builders, they need their money. They can't, they're not investors. They're builders. They build the house, they get their money, and they're on to the next one. They can't sit on it or start renting it out. They're not in that business. So there might be
an opportunity for people that can buy?
Well, definitely. But then the affordability sort of plays into it. So, it's like it's a very interesting thing. There is going to be opportunity to buy, but then will you be able to afford it because interest rates are high?
Well, okay. So this is absolutely based on zero stats, zero data. This is just what I was hearing over the past couple of years, how many people from California moved to Texas. Not just Texas, but that was one of the main places. And it's because people in California were just mind blown that I can probably make the same amount of money, or I can work from home from Texas and buy a house that's a third of how much I paid for my own house, and probably 2 or 3 times bigger than my home. So with that mentality, those homes being built in Texas, if they are offered at a cheaper price, possibly we can still see that trend continuing where people from California are taking advantage of those deals, just selling their house here, moving over there. So possibly increasing the supply in California while they do that.
It's possible.
There could still be a balance.
There could be, but again, it's situational. It depends on what and where. Right now, what's not absolutely crashing the market is the suburb sales. So a lot of people are moving out of the big city and going into the suburbs, and because it's a lot more affordable. It's a lot calmer, especially with people with families, right? They don't want to be involved with city traffic and city, craziness. So the suburb sales is what's keeping the real estate market somewhat active. There is a move, and I believe 2021 was the first year California saw less people come in that they did go out. Yeah. But one thing on that too, a lot of people are going to be coming back. Let me tell you that.
Why do you
Once winter comes around and they realize California's weather and it's literally like 70 degrees throughout the whole year. So people they're not, easily adjusted to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's one of the main reasons I could never move out.
Exactly. Weather is different, so a lot of people, they're all excited and left. A lot of people will stay too, definitely. But, a year or two, because I lived in Dallas.
But good
for a
luck to
little
those
bit.
people coming back, because prices here have increased since they left.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's increased everywhere, generally speaking. But the next couple
But imagine
years,
getting used to Texas prices and then coming here.
of course. Yeah, I know it's completely different. But then again, the wages are a lot lower. This remote working thing has been falling off a lot with companies because they didn't see productivity at the high levels. Of course, you're at home at the end of the day. Unless you're like a call center that's just picking up phone calls and you have to be in front of it. If you're like working in sales or I don't know, like IT, once you finish one, you're gonna go to your kitchen and open the fridge up and then wander around. So
I'm shocked,
they saw productivity of fall to all times low, and then everyone just pulled the trigger. They're like, we're not doing this anymore. So they've been calling a lot of people back to physical locations.
That's incredible. Okay, I bet that just this depends on the person, because I remember in the beginning of the pandemic, not beginning, it was like 6 months in, I talked to people about that, and they told me the opposite, that their company was showing that they were more productive when they were working from home. And I feel that myself, because when I'm working from home, I feel like I overdo it. If I'm in the office, I know 9 to 5 p.m. I'm out of here.
Right.
But at home, I continue working, and it just feels like I don't actually have hours. So I'm really shocked that you said that, especially with companies. I'm sure they have the data, but companies paying like $50,000 a month for just one office space. That's crazy that they want to go back to that.
And it still doesn't make sense for remote work for them.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, again, based on person. So like if you get paid based on productivity, I'm sorry, not productivity. Sales, then you're gonna bust your balls regardless of where you are, because if you don't make sales, you don't get to feed your family. But the hourly people, the salary people, that whether they did it, they didn't do it, they just showed up to work. That's where they saw a huge decline in
and
productivity.
To those people, you need to get a new job, because if that's how much you hate your job, whew.
I mean, who really likes to work? But
I mean, I can honestly say I like my work. So, and almost everyone that I've talked to, realtors, yourself included, had the way you talk about the real estate market.
Yeah, you like what you're doing in the real estate market, but
if you hate it that much, then time for a job change. Look into real estate.
So I don't know. That's my predictions. At least in the next couple of years, there'll be a lot more migration back to California.
It makes sense.
And then again, it's gonna be interesting. Like California, Los Angeles specifically, it's a big city, and there's a lot of different trends and stuff happening. So prices won't drop as much here in Los Angeles than they will other places, because it's such a hot spot, right? Everybody wants to be
honestly here. Even when prices drop, it's so crazy to think about the way we're taxed here. I personally live in Glendale, California. So I get the state tax, obviously federal tax, state tax, and then the local tax is different. I think LA County has its own, and then Glendale itself. So randomly, my car payment went up a couple dollars. This was a couple years ago. And I was really confused. I was like, I didn't know you could change my contract in the middle, and I didn't pay attention to the fine print. And when I called, they're like, it's because you live in Glendale. That's it.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
I wonder if that affects homes too. Is there like a local tax on homes, like very local, like Glendale, for example?
There's like transfer taxes and stuff, but it wouldn't affect any payments. Yeah, it won't go up because of that, randomly at least. I was watching this interview previously, sort of to go off topic. I forgot who it was. This business owner making like a couple $1 million a year, nothing too crazy, but he was pretty well off, and they asked him, he's like, you have a tech company, you don't have any infrastructure, you don't have any trucks, any vans, any vehicles, any warehouses, you don't have office space, all your employees work from home, you're completely online, you can pick up and move to wherever you want. He's like, why do you still live in California? This guy was like a hardcore, I think he was from Florida, Florida's the best, this, that. He's like, man, honestly, I thought about it, and it's worth me paying 45% taxes just for the weather. He's like, I can't imagine myself. He's like, it's 70 degrees all year long here. He's like, you can wear shorts whenever you want. He's like, I can't. He's like, I don't even know where to buy a jacket.
That's so funny.
He was talking about it, and it's like some people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you have the
cost
money,
of living here, so
exactly.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, that's why we see the snowbirds in Florida, from Russia, from New York, from all these places that have extreme winters. They're flying out to Florida because they like that extreme humidity. humidity and the heat, and they want that during the winter.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that costs them a lot of money, especially if they can't get renters during the summer to live in their home. But if you have the money for the convenience of it, people are willing to spend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For the convenience.
And that, I think that's a piece of golden business advice. So if you're opening a business, anything that's going to make it more convenient for someone or automated, that's how you're going to make the money. Because if people have the money, they're willing to spend it. Just make their life easier.
Yep. I wanted to touch bases on one of the what agents should be doing now compared to what they did. And before we go into that, actually, Gary Keller, the owner of Keller Williams, actually recently said that that here, I got it right here. The second year of the Great Recession, we had the largest drop in 1 year in recorded history. He said that 1.5 million transactions were taken off the book. And he's predicting that next year there's going to be 1.3 million transactions taken off the.
So not a huge change.
Well, I mean, it's pretty big.
If you got used to this year.
But,
so it's not going to get too much worse. If you can stabilize your business now, you can survive next year.
Well, no, hang on. This was from the Great Recession from 2008. The 1.5 that was taken off. I think he said this was 2 years later this happened. The second year of the Great Recession. So after that, there was 1.5 million transactions that got taken off the book. He's predicting that next year there will be 1.3 million transactions from now. So again, it's huge. It's bad. It's not as bad. You know, it's like how bad is it? Is it bad or really bad? It's bad, but it's just, you know, there's still opportunity out there for everyone, right?
Oh yeah.
It just depends on what you do now and how much more, because you got to start working more as agents. Well, let's specifically talk about agents. You have to start working more, because there's not going to be as much fish in the sea, and you actually got to start fighting for your clients and make sure you get them and do, you know, find work to do, right? Because they're not going to be coming to you like they were past previous years. So there is still opportunity, and agents can do so much to get it.
What do you think of social media now? Because I feel like before it was great, especially because there was so much opportunity. But do you think that agents should still spend the amount of time and money and their resources into developing great content? And is it going to yield the same results?
Content for sure. I mean, social media is amazing because you can be so many different places at so many different times, right? Connecting with people. One thing though I want to note though is I don't understand why real estate agents follow other real estate agents. It's a little weird to me. Unless you're trying to sell something to them that's not real estate related, I don't see a reason behind it. A real estate agent is never going to come to another real estate agent to buy a house, especially the one that they don't know. So you got to follow your prospects, right? Or past clients. I know so many realtors that don't even follow their past clients and don't have like any sort of form of following up with them, at least on a year by year basis of like a home anniversary or a happy birthday or a happy holidays. You're literally killing your chances of doing business with that person ever again. And they say the most amount of business comes from referrals. So you sort of need to set your business up in a way where you prospect so for so many years of your career, and then it's just going to ramp up all on top of each other. And then now your main source of business, because you've had so many sales and clients, your main source of business becomes your sphere of influence and your past clients. So that business starts coming from there. So you can reduce your prospecting, and you're not going to need to touch on so many new clients and people you've never spoken to, because you're going to have like hundreds and thousands of previous clients coming back to you or referring them to you, right? But if you did all the work up front and you just completely lose contact with them and just, you know, wipe them off the face of the planet, they're not going to remember you. You know,
what a waste of money.
Exactly. So this is where social media sort of comes in, is you have to follow your past clients, follow prospects. I follow my prospects. It's a little weird, but I do it. You know, once I make contact with them, and if they're like a hot lead or a warm lead, I go and follow them on Instagram or social media or Facebook. I mean, it's not weird. That's what it's meant for. But now I'm on top of their mind continuously, right? I'm calling them once a week or once every other day, whatever the case may be. And I'm interacting with their posts. I'm commenting, I'm liking, I'm swiping up, whatever. And I'm always there. I'm always on the back of their mind. So, social media, for sure, you still need to be there. But again, along with every other thing you do, the next coming years, you have to double it.
Yeah.
You literally have to double it.
You really do have to set goals and be able to track your progress.
100%. 100%.
To have maybe a partner or your coach or mentor to keep you accountable with all of that. Because it is hard to do when it's just for yourself and it's not being required at work.
Of course, but that's where your grit comes in, right? How bad do you want it? And what do you want? You want to just, do like 6 transactions a year and be all right for the rest of your life? Or do you want to scale your business and get to somewhere and do certain things, Just it's a person by person basis. But going back to the social media, definitely.
So for social media, so do you not follow any agents yourself unless you know them personally?
Yeah, no, I do. I follow agents, people I've done business with, obviously teammates or anything like that. But I do, but I see agents going on like a following spree of other agents, and I don't understand.
I've always thought that was normal because I just see everyone do it. I never thought about why. I'm assuming it's for referrals in case you can't make a sale and you send it to someone else.
Well, I mean, but you don't know that person.
Yeah. They're most likely
I would definitely not refer one of my clients out to an agent I randomly followed on this, or they followed me. It's a little weird.
Well, that's what thepocketnetwork.com is for.
Exactly.
You follow all of those agents on the Pocket Network.
And that's the whole concept of it. Which is, we'll go deeper into it. But absolutely, social media is top right now. You do need to keep up with it and be creative and be active.
Yeah.
And then that's on the social side, but the prospecting side, you do need to make double the calls that you were used to making. I know people that don't even prospect, which is really weird.
It's because it's uncomfortable and people want to be comfortable. Most people don't like it, but
you know what? To excel in life, you got to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You got to get outside your box. You can't.
Well, the market's been so good; they didn't have to be uncomfortable.
Well, which is exactly why those agents are not going to renew their license in a couple of years.
Yeah.
We've been seeing an agent drop off already since the beginning of the pandemic, but I believe that they're going to get hit so hard, and they're going to be so clueless to people that are not taking it seriously, where they're just not going to renew their licenses and completely forget about it in the next couple of years.
Yeah, because a lot of people did this as a side hustle to make a bunch of money, and that's really not what any career is for. Because when the hard times come, if you're just doing it for the money, you're not going to survive. Exactly. So for prospecting and is there any advice that you can give for, because it's going to be a lot harder. So should they have different scripts, or will the same things work? I
mean, everybody has different scripts that they work with. It's about, my main advice would to anybody, to any agent out there, prospecting is literally just double what you're doing now. You're going to have to double it. Literally, if you're making 2 hours of phone calls, make 4. If you're not following up as much, you have to follow up. Sales aren't made, only 3% of sales are made off the first phone call.
Yeah.
So imagine losing 97% of your sales because you're like, I don't want to work with them. I don't want to call them back. No, you have to call them back now, because now you got to touch them 5, 6, 7, 8 times with a phone call, an email, a postcard, a door knock. You got to use every single method to finally get it, because that's what it's going to take now. And people aren't going to be willing to sell. Right now that's the case, but maybe inventory goes up a little bit, but now there's not enough buyers. So you need to be very well rounded in your business. So you do get the sale and make sure the home closes and make sure everybody's happy with it. So it's literally just doubling what you're doing now, and there's still opportunity. And then business wise, Gary Keller, his book Shift is actually great right now. If anybody needs to read and what to do during right now the shifting market, he has a lot of great points. I believe it's 12 points, but that's a definitely recommended book that every agent should read, so they see exactly he has information of how you should focus on your website. Something that not a lot of agents really have, a website. You think it's very common, but it's not a lot of agents have it. So they're you should ramp up your website. He talks about creative financing. He's you're a real estate agent, but a lot of your clients look to you for financing options and stuff, right? So get with a lender that you work with, and figure out options of what you can do, how you can do it, and present it to your clients, and be creative with it, because it's not going to be as simple anymore. Simple stuff lower your expenses, and but he has a bunch of great topics that every single agent should read if they want to continue their career in this path. If not, then that's up to them.
Yeah, of course. And then for people who we would always say, I've heard a lot of people say, I can't read that book because I don't have the time, or I can't do too much networking because I don't have the time. Well, now you have more time than ever before. If you have half the clients, then you just have to decide how to use that time. So you don't have to read the book entirely at once. You can read one chapter at a time after your calls, or make it a goal. If I read this chapter, by the end, I can go have my iced coffee, whatever it is. But it's so important to take advantage of your time in ways that are going to build your future. So if you do put in all that work now, then in the future, you'll have more time to sit back and be comfortable. But if you're not putting in the work now, this is just going to be it for the rest of your life. Always trying to make that next paycheck.
It's like compound interest, right? Like the more you do it, I mean, the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. So in times like this is when you gotta, cut back on some, unnecessary spending and start investing it in yourself. So this is the prime time to do it.
And even if you don't believe that things are going to get worse, or if your business has not been affected at all, the worst that could happen is you just save a bunch of money. So
exactly. And you learn more, right? So there's never anything wrong in learning more.
Exactly. So a quick question for you. So we always talk about on this podcast how important financial literacy is, and how, like you just said, that the clients look to you for any type of financial advice. What's the best way a brand new agent, of someone very young who doesn't really have experience with money themselves, can do that? Is there a book that you can recommend? Is there a course that you can recommend
with finances? Finances,
so that they can advise their client and also use that in their own career?
Honestly, first advice would be joining a team as an agent, especially if you're a brand new agent. It's going to be very easy for you to connect with people and learn so much more quicker than by yourself, right? And then from there, just depends on what type of learner you are. There's a bunch of resources on YouTube if you like to watch videos, or a bunch of books on it. And then as far as advising your clients, get with a lender or multiple lenders, and at least like once a week, have like a 30-minute conversation with them and see what's going on. With your client
or the lender?
With your lender.
Okay.
Even if you don't have clients, because this is the number one question that agents get from their clients is, how much is it going to cost me? How much do I got to put down? What type of financing options are there? What's the interest rates? It's mainly finance-based questions. So if you're just a sale, contract agent, but you have absolutely no idea on the lending side and what's going on, you're going to start, you're not going to look as professional as you think you are.
You're not going to be trusted.
Exactly. So, majority of the questions do go through the agent. So if you can set yourself up in a way, literally 30-minute, go have coffee with your lender, whatever it is, and just keep up to date, continuously keep up to date.
Subscribe to their email list.
I
know a lot of the lenders we talk to say they have that.
So it's just keeping yourself in the loop, keeping yourself informed. That's the only way to get it done.
I find this hilarious because just recently I was talking to someone who can finally afford their own tiny little condo, and one of my friends, and they wanted to buy a condo, and then they were going to use someone in their family. And then she came up to me and she's like, I don't know if this is weird or not, but when I asked him, how much is that going to cost me monthly? Because that's all she cares about. Am I going to be able to afford this out of my salary? So he went on, I think it's Zillow, right? That has like that estimator. And he typed in everything she could have typed in and just gave her that number and was like, yeah, it's that. Which we all know that's not very accurate, but also there's so many different ways that you can change things around to make sure that it fits your client's budget. And I was like, get out. Do not use them, whatever you do.
I mean, in those cases, I just like hop on a 3-way call with your client and your lender. Just, you can't, unless you're a mortgage lender yourself, along with being an agent, you're not going to have the most accurate information. So I just, work with trusted lenders and hop on a call with them, or go to have a meeting with them and have them explain it. But at least you'll know the basic questions, right? And where to guide your clients. It's all about guiding them in the right direction.
Or follow these lenders on social media. I know people like Anna Cara Loans and Artin Falahi. I know personally that they post so many things on social media. They have those educational lives. They have those videos, whatever. Twitter, stories. Yeah, exactly. They tell you as it comes out what it is so that you can be armed with that and use that with your client.
Exactly.
So you don't even have to do, honestly, nowadays, it's almost easy. You don't have to go the extra mile and reach out to these people yourself. All you have to do is follow them on social media and you get this information.
Information is everywhere.
Exactly.
It's literally everywhere. It's not like 20 years ago where you need to find the yellow pages and then, call people and figure. It's everywhere. So people that say like, I don't know, that's being selfish. You didn't do the right research or you didn't put in the time to figure it out when it's something you should have known or you at least can find out and you just give up there. That's completely on them, especially nowadays.
Yeah, that's not the kind of agent you want to be. And that's not the kind of agent that's going to make it through anything in this industry. Even if it's really good over the past couple of years, everything's been great. Maybe you've had a steady flow of clients coming in. To keep those clients, you have to prove to be trustworthy. That's the most important thing. And clients, they're not dumb and they're about to spend a lot of money. So if you keep saying, I don't know, that better be led up with, I don't have the most accurate number from today. Let me get that for you. And you better get that in less than 10 minutes.
Of course. You can never shut your client out or have them do their own research to find a question that they ask. That's
why some people say, why do I need an agent? I'll just do it myself.
Exactly.
You definitely need an agent, but not the kind of people that you've probably met.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's where that.
Okay, so then for social media, let's still talk about that. So what kind of information should these agents be putting out there?
Relevant information.
So literally. Like market?
Yeah.
What's going to attract people to reach out to them?
Listen, market updates in a very, very understandable way. Yeah. Right? You can't be very analytical and have charts and graphs that, they need to sit down and for 20 minutes and analyze, make it very, it's like, imagine, explaining it to a 5-year-old like that. And very quick, because I mean, specifically speaking of Instagram, you have 90 seconds if we're talking about reels. Not even. Yeah, you have
most people won't listen to it.
I mean, technically speaking, you have like 5 seconds to grab somebody's attention. So if you don't do it on those 5 seconds, nobody's going to watch the rest of your videos. But generally speaking, market conditions, tips are great. Tips on for buyers and sellers. It's about the value that you can give pre-contract with your clients. If they see that you're giving so much value prior to them even signing a contract with you or talking with you, they're like, wow, I can imagine how much more value I'll get out of this agent once we start working together. So it's about that. I hate those agents that say, why would I give out this? I mean, the information is already out there, but be the person that presents it in a nice way, have some little editing, spend a little bit of money. Exactly. Show yourself as the trustworthy expert, the market professional, talk about if you're working in a specific area, talk about like the new listings that came out in that area. Ask the listing agent if, you can market their property a little bit and they won't mind because
free marketing.
Free marketing. So every agent that I've done that to, they're like, go ahead, man, go wild with it. So there's ton of opportunity, but it's just be geared toward the typical buyer or seller and be relevant with current. You can't talk about, like, for example, don't do any weird Squid Game related information now, or like try to make content based off Squid Game, show. That's now,
old
right?
Season.
Exactly. That's like 2 years ago, probably. Yeah. So stay relevant, talk about what's going on now and
like, don't be afraid of doing what others are doing. Because I've heard a lot of people, like, when I've recommended, why don't you make a video about this? They're like, well, I've seen 2 or 3 other agents do that, where you use like a funny, like one of those memes, but you only use the voiceover and you do it yourself. I'm like, but it doesn't matter. Just use their audio. You're giving credit to the creator and do it yourself, because your customers or the people following you most likely have not seen it as many times as you have, because your Instagram, the algorithm is very curated and it's showing you what you've been seeing. So even if they have seen it, that's fine. Do it. Still do it. You have to be putting things out there, content out there. And most importantly, it's never embarrassing. Like, you have to be really crazy nowadays to be embarrassing on Instagram. Just be memorable. These kids have it down. Sometimes they do go a little crazy, but they're memorable, and that's what works. Exactly. That's what makes them viral.
That's what makes them viral. And I mean, The point is here is not going viral. It's just touching the right people.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean,
if you go viral, actually, that would not work in your interest because now your content is being pumped to areas that you can't even sell homes to.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it depends on what you're going for. You want to be like a viral agent and I don't know, sell different products or whatever, but it may or may not help. But definitely I've seen so many different variations of like the same type of video, but be you.
Exactly.
You don't take one thing from each video and, be you. Cause then essentially what you present yourself on social media sort of needs to be aligned with the person that the client meets, right? You can't be this hype person and, this jolly person on social media. And then we see like this dreadful agent come up and try to sell a house or, it needs to sort of line up. So just be you, because you're not going to please everybody first and foremost. And also whoever you do please, those are the people that will buy from you, right? So just focus on those people and you'll be just fine.
But most importantly, the reason that you wouldn't be consistent is because you think it would help you sell a little more, which doesn't make sense because being consistent with your brand is what makes you trustworthy. Exactly. And that's what's going to make people invest their money in you.
Yep. Yeah. Great
so
point.
it doesn't make sense any way you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point. Definitely agree.
Okay, so then, so we talked about, we personally talked about so how some people are being like super salesy. So let's talk about, for our viewers to hear what exactly that means on Instagram, for example.
What that means on Instagram, on social media.
Like, how do you not be super salesy?
That's a good question. How do you not be super salesy?
Because you are just trying to sell that home, that new listing that you received.
You are, yeah. But
when you said that immediately made me think of a few people that I personally follow with my own page. And it is very salesy. And most of the time, because I'm not buying anything right now, I'll just skip right through it. I won't look at it.
Well, I don't know how to properly answer your question for social media. But
okay, so then let's restate that. How do you not be super salesy when you're doing
like prospecting or something? Yeah, that would make a lot more sense because super salesy on social media is going to be weird because you're going to be like, hey, buy this house, right?
Yeah.
But on prospecting with phone calls specifically, we get like, I see a lot of agents just, going like, hey, they sort of I don't want to say lie, but they don't present the true facts of the market. So they say whatever they need to say just to get the sale.
Yeah.
Right.
To make you feel comfortable.
Exactly. To make you feel comfortable and then to get the contract signed. And then that day comes and then everything starts getting revealed, right? Like a used car salesman, right? Everybody brings up that analogy, but it's something like that. People value, right? The value that you can give. That's what they trust. So if you can give them value and say, this is what you'll get out of me. And when I talk to clients, one of my first lines that I say is that, hey, listen, a lot of agents are going to tell you things that you want to hear. I'm like, is it okay with you if I tell you the actual truth and what I think and what I know?
Yeah.
And everyone's like,
does he actually want to tell me the truth?
they're sort of blown back, right? Because they get the realtor talk that, hey, everything is great. We'll sell your home this weekend. You'll get over asking, but in reality, houses are getting sold for below. This that realtor talk. Everything is fine. Your house will always sell. It's always a great time to buy. No, you'll never go below. We'll never sell below your list price. It's realtor talk, typical realtor talk. So when I do that,
and under deliver.
Exactly. So when I do that, they're like, is this guy insane? Like we've never heard that before because nobody comes. But now it sets me up in a way where when I do deliver the facts and the truth, they completely understand it and they don't sort of get offended by it when I say, hey, listen, your house needs upgrades, or I personally think you should do this to your home so that we can get top value, or whatever I say, And they take it as like this guy knows what he's talking about. He's trustworthy, he's professional. Because then somebody that's trying to get the contract signed, they'll walk into a burnt house and they'll say, beautiful property. Wow, I can't believe it. Well, everybody's going to fall in love with it. But meanwhile, the baseboards are out and the walls are crumbling, But that's what they do to get the contract signed. And then everything sort of pops up after the contract. So it's just a matter of presenting yourself the right way from the beginning, because you want you want your relationship with the client to be the same before contract and after contract up to closing. You need to be that same person along the same way. So they don't say, this person just flipped on me once I signed the contract with them, which we see a lot of. People sign a contract and they don't hear from their realtor for like months at a time, like, which blows my mind. How can you just, disregard your clients like that? But it happens, and it happens a lot. So it's a matter of just being truthful.
That's when you know the priorities, and that's when you know never to refer work to that person again.
And that person probably, that person, that's what that person does. They keep hustling for the new business because they've done such a horrible job with their previous. That person's never going to get referrals, or that client wants to sell in 5 years. They're never going to get the call anymore because of the way they present themselves.
Yeah.
So
why go back? Prove yourself. Prove basically the entire time you're helping your client, you're not just helping them. You're trying to prove to them why they should either return or refer services to you.
Exactly.
That's the way you should always be looking at it.
It all comes down to the value that you provide them. Because, let's face it, 100 agents can sell the same home, right? But not many can provide value while doing it.
Exactly.
So like I see, for example, a lot of agents get negotiated out of their commission with their client. So if somebody hits me with will you reduce your commission? I say no. And we negotiate. And then I say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, if you can negotiate me out of my own money, you think I'll be able to negotiate with the buyer's agent out of your money? You think I'll have the guts or the negotiation skills? And then again, it's about like presenting yourself in a way. And then every time I say that, they're like, you're absolutely right. We're going to pay you the full commission. Because they know, because I'm negotiating. If it's my money, and I have a fiduciary responsibility to negotiate the same exact way for you and what you net at the end of the day. Yeah. So if I can back out and say, all right, just to take the listing, I'll cut my commission by 2%. What makes you think I'm not going to say, whatever you offer, we'll get the contract signed, Yeah. No, I want to get the most amount of money so that you'll be happy, and then I'll get more money and I'll be happy. It's just everybody's happy. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but value is a main factor in the success of agents.
Yeah, of course. So we talked a lot about the struggles of being an agent right now in today's market. So let's talk about the tools and resources that agents can use to overcome these right now.
Right. Well, besides what we've mentioned of doubling your prospecting and doubling the work that the sales part of your work, keep up with social media, like we talked about, be relevant with it. A big factor that I'm noticing agents and real estate professionals do is they're noticing the value of networking now. And that's very important, actually. Now it's getting even more important because there's a lot of information that other agents or other people have that you can benefit from. A lot of tactics, right? If someone's doing one thing one way, you can definitely learn from a lot of people. And that's the only way to learn, You can't, read all the books in the world, watch all the videos in the world, but if you don't speak to an actual person that's doing it the same way you are and trying to, and they're achieving results that you're trying to achieve or whatever the case may be, you can ask them and figure it out. So networking is huge. Even with networking events, they've been picking up a lot since COVID, and the turnout that they're getting is just massive. Just agents are like just hungry to get out there and just learn new stuff and talk to new people and get new business cards and keep following up with them. So networking is something new for sure, because previously people didn't give a crap about networking. They're like, I don't need to know another agent. Yeah. But no, sometimes you do. And in those times where you're stuck and you're back against the wall and you have nowhere to go, or so you'd say you have a referral and your client's moving out of the state. And you're basically losing them, but when you can get a referral fee out of them or whatever the case may be, having a good network of like a bunch of different professionals, not even just
a diverse network,
lenders, escrow officers, contractors. I mean, everything involved in real estate. I mean, which is the whole reason why the Pocket Network was born a year and a half ago. And now we're starting to see the actual need of it. right?
Exactly.
When the market is really hot, people, people don't even have time to like, worry about anybody else. But like,
but when they are going to these in-person networking events, okay, so then what next? You can follow them on Instagram just like 200 other people will.
Yeah.
And they're not going to focus on building the relationship with you as much as a prospective buyer or seller. So it would just be so much better to connect with these people on the Pocket Network, because now it's a very,
tight knit.
Yes, exactly. Tight knit. So exactly. When you log on, you know what professional you can go to. You can narrow down exactly who you're looking for, so that when you do need someone in the industry, whether it's a loan officer or whoever it is, you can just log on, they're there, and you can reach out to them directly. You know what you're getting. So with Instagram, it's a little bit different. Not only, you can't really keep up with these connections, because if they're not top of mind, because that's really, like you said, you get shocked when people do like mass following of other agents. Yeah. So, but realistically, are you paying attention to each of these agents? Do you even have the time on social media to take care of your own business needs and keep up with all of these people? So to separate these two, I think that's genius.
It is. And again, with social media, it's a social platform. So people don't really go on there for business needs, right? Mm-hmm. They follow a lot of family and a lot of celebrities and a lot of different people. So conducting business, it's like going on a meeting with or a golf trip, right, with like a bunch of different like people or different business executives, where they say like don't talk business. Business will happen.
Yes.
That's what sort of Instagram is, you don't need to, nobody really talks business on Instagram, but our platform is like specific. It's like you're here to conduct business, to you know what you're getting when you're there. Yeah, exactly. And there's so many different channels and opportunities and different resources that are provided, where you can literally find anything you need. And if you can't,
it's in a central place. That's my favorite part. Because every time I ask questions, like when I asked you today, how do you achieve this financial literacy? There's never one answer, because there's so many ways to do it. Then there's so many places you could go to for this information. So to actually have one platform, I don't know why the heck this hasn't happened before, especially in an industry where billions of dollars are going into play every single year. So why is there not a central platform like the Pocket Network, where now you can go on, not only do you meet people, connect with people, you're able to send them messages, but also you have that little feed where you can announce things, you can post off-market listings, you have a video library of educational information. There's even some entertainment, which our podcast is a part of. Yeah. So there's just so many outlets on there where you can go on. If you don't want to be networking and doing all business right away, you want to numb off your brain, then there's a little bit of entertainment there where you'll still get benefits from it. And I think it's just an incredible platform. I think people should take better advantage of it. And especially right now, the Pocket Network is still early stages as a tech company. Yeah. So usually what that means is the first users have the most benefits from it, because it's not as concentrated, and because less eyes are going there, you're more likely to be seen and singled out to do business with. So I think people really need to take advantage of that as well. Yeah,
and they are, and we're seeing like very interesting conversations on the website, right? Like so detailed and specific, case by case basis situations where people talk about, and they're getting answers from. They realize, holy crap, this person has dealt with this too.
And I love that some of them are personal, because when I go on and read, it's not just how do you make a sale. So it's a very personal case of this is happening. What should I do? Exactly. And it's a community of professionals reaching out.
Yeah, you're not going to get like, your uncle's best friend commenting on your post on Facebook and telling you what to do with it, right? Yeah. And and people have been saying, oh, there's Facebook groups we can join, or this and that, but first and foremost, we've noticed with all those bunch of Facebook groups, they're like half of them are like to sell things to people. Yeah. You get signed up, and then you got to go through this whole process and fill out all your information. And then they end up like, you go in there and the people end up selling each other, soliciting different stuff to each other.
Or they're just very specific.
Yeah, or like this is specifically for women in real estate. This is for pocket listings in this area. Yeah. Mortgage updates in this area. Just it's very specific. Yeah. So now you have to join like 10 different groups. It's great.
If that speaks to you, be a part of that community. Yeah. But that's not going to cover all your business needs in one place.
Exactly, and so you can join all those 10 groups, but then again, what are you logging onto? You're logging onto a social media website, and then you're going to get distracted immediately, and that's how it is. Like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, they just drag you in this dark hole, and you don't realize an hour later has passed and you forgot why you even went on there. But when you're going out to the Pocket Network, you're going there for a specific reason, right? And majority of the time you get it very, very quickly, and you're in, you're out, or you're just scrolling around. Get your business done. Yeah. I think our right now our average time visited is like 6 minutes,
which is amazing for busy professionals.
And so literally what we're seeing, with the trend we're seeing is that people are coming in, or majority of the action is happening on the feed, where people just asking questions or answering, or it's a lot of us doing updates and stuff of what's going on, and just real quick interaction, and then boom, they're out. Private messaging, so you can always connect with someone privately too. You can connect with them, see what they're doing, whatever needs you need from them. And we also have groups too, which is a great addition that we added. So you can create a group if you're a premium member. And that group can be very specific to maybe something in your area, or maybe some knowledge that you want to share, whatever that may be. You can create a group and invite, either invite all of the agents or
invite your team.
Exactly. No, we see team groups there where like the premium member is like the team leader, and they invite like 10, 15 of their teammates, and they have like discussions there. And so like if there's any questions that ever comes up in their team meetings, they can always refer them to that group. So like, hey, we've already discussed this. Go through there and check that out. So it's very interesting stuff happening. Again, the podcast and stuff. We have the video library. It's full of great information where, you just like as agents or professionals, you just got to be a sponge and soak everything in, because there's so much stuff going on. And then my favorite feature, which is sort of based off of the name too, is the pocket listing feature. Which is again sort of how the whole idea of the Pocket Network came about. But the pocket listings, I mean, where can you really go to a central place where people have posted off-market listings? And then again, like imagine you're signed up and then you have buyers looking for a property. This is where you stand out as an agent. You present to them stuff that is like not available anywhere else. And it's limited to such a few amount of people, right? Obviously we're not going to have like 10 million users, because we're not a social media website. We're a very niche company, so not a lot of people are going to be seeing that product. And how much more value, again, it goes back to the value that you can provide. How much more value can you give to your buyer when you say, hey, I know what you're looking for. I'm working, I'm in the Facebook groups. I'm calling prospective sellers. I'm also in the Pocket Network community where I can post about it, and a bunch of other people can see it.
I'm doing all this for you.
Reach out. So it's that value. Or else, like I said previously, 100 people can sell a house and 100 people can help a buyer. But what are you doing to stand out? To
differentiating yourself.
Exactly. To be different. So,
and one of the things that I love is because all of these social media algorithms sometimes really get to me. I like the marketing aspect of it, especially when, like for example, when you are, let's say, a loan officer and you're posting updates and it's on social media. For you, it might be great, or as a real estate agent, for a real estate agent especially, it's great that everyone gets to see your content, not just the professionals. You're getting the home buyers and the sellers. But then also what's happening, especially if you're paying for ads, now Instagram or Facebook is all of a sudden showing your stuff to people that absolutely do not care. And even if they do care, they can't do anything about it because they're not in the industry. Meanwhile, the Pocket Network, if you are posting your monthly updates or whatever else it is, these valuable videos that you have, guaranteed everyone that's on that website, they are in the industry. They are professionals in the industry. They can actually benefit off that. And then you in turn can benefit off of that relationship. So that's one of my absolutely favorite features. And also the fact that it's not like, with Instagram, sometimes if you don't pay them enough for an ad, they won't promote your video. So there's none of that. It's all organic growth. It's all, if your content is great and people love it, then you're going to do well on that.
And it's like the saying goes, what goes around comes around, and what you give, you'll always get back. So people are just sharing their knowledge willingly.
Exactly.
And because they know, eventually it'll come back to me. Somebody will share something with me that I didn't know. So it's just a bunch of information going around. And especially in times like now where, it's going to be a little more difficult. You got to switch up a few different things. You got to be more creative with your with how to get leads and how to prospect and how to get sales, because not that it's not going to be impossible, but we're going into a market that is going to be normal and something that people haven't been used to in the past 2 years. So especially if anybody that got licensed within the pandemic, all they've seen is the highs, right? So they don't know what to do during the lows.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah, right. Welcome to a regular market. Here is the place where you get all that information, where what other successful agents are doing, and what you can do as well. Yeah. Again, but it's for serious people only.
Exactly. And what's the best part about it is if you survive this, then you can actually say that you've done the work, that you actually basically you understood exactly what it is to do to keep nourishing your business, nourishing these leads to come out on top. Yeah. There's a lot of people that when the industry is great, you could do great yourself. But the people that are going to stand out at the end, all our eyes will be on them, are the people that made it out on top. Of course. And what's going to happen is there's going to be, during the lower end of the market and going to the normal market, there's going to be stable growth with everybody that's hustling. And then once there's going to be a click in either in somebody's personal business or within the market, depends, and they're going to skyrocket. Yes. I just bit my tongue. That hurt. No. Because that's how good it's going to be. They're going to skyrocket from there. Yeah. It just all falls back on the amount of work you put in. It's not going to be easy. 100% it's not going to be easy. But if you're willing to do it, then it's going to be so worth it at the end for you, because you're going to get so much from it. And again, doesn't matter why you came into the business. Some people straight up say, I came into it because of the money. Some people say, I truly love helping people. Whatever the case may be, you still got to put in the work. Again, you're not working a 9 to 5. You're not on a salary basis. It's about production. And if you don't produce, then bye-bye. Yeah, it's not going to work. So you have to take advantage of the resources. And backing up a little bit, the Pocket Network is absolutely free to sign up to. So the best part of it, you're literally not missing out on anything, because you have free information that's so specifically dedicated to what you can do to grow your business. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't sign up. Exactly. So that's the whole. Even if you're not into the idea, why does it hurt to try something that's for free? Yeah, exactly. And 6 minutes. You don't have to spend too much time on it. Go on, time yourself 6 minutes. If you fall in love, great, pay up. If you don't, then what's it going to hurt your career? You tried, been there, done that. Try again next year when we have new updates. Which is actually, compared to other websites, other real estate websites, it's actually pretty high. Yeah. But it's consistent. So it's they're not hopping on and off. We also have so many more things than other real estate websites. Yeah. There's not a single website that has all of this. Exactly. Well, other websites are usually just news related or just news related. Yeah. So, basically that's what's out there right now. Yeah. But when we run the numbers, a lot of people don't hop on and off every 30 seconds, for 30 seconds, hop off, and then an hour later go back it's usually once a day or twice a day. They'll go on, do their research, find some information, talk to some people, do whatever they got to do, and then boom, they're done. It really is just a career tool. Yeah. We're not trying to make this a social media that you're on 24/7. Exactly. We're not trying to switch up the algorithms to get you hooked on. So I think what you guys have been doing here is amazing. And I think that people at home really need to take this and actually use this as advice. Go right now, go on your phone, type in thepocketnetwork.com and check it out. And tell us what you think about it. If there's something that you don't like, let us know. And then we'll make sure that the team works on it. And then you can test it out. Be our first tester for that feature. So that's the most important thing, that in the beginning stages of any company, the people there are literally just there to listen to your feedback. Yeah. So if there's something that you've been thinking, oh my God, I wish I had this and I would be so much more successful, or my job would be so much easier, we're going to put all of Edward's social media on the bottom too. We're going to put the Pocket Network social media, reach out to anyone in the team, and they're all here to listen. We've already had so many people that said, okay, I really like this. And then the feedback they get is, okay, but what don't you like? Yeah. And then we work on that. So it's personalized for you. This entire platform, honestly, the only purpose is to lift these professionals up. That's the only purpose. So I'm honestly shocked that every professional in the real estate game in the entire world hasn't already signed up. It's probably just because they haven't been exposed to it. They haven't heard about it. But imagine a free platform with the only thing behind it, the only agenda is to make people more successful.
Yeah. Well, we've been growing month over month, thankfully.
Yeah.
So it's been great. And the end goal is to be like a central real estate hub.
Yeah.
For like all things real estate related. So imagine like as a real estate professional logging onto one website for absolutely everything you need in your business, right?
You don't have to go on 58 websites and make logins. Which is annoying. For a little piece of information.
Get emails constantly from every single,
That's another thing with the emails for the Pocket Network. Yeah. You're not just overloaded with emails like 20 times a day.
Exactly.
It's just what's important, what you should take a moment to read that could actually help your career.
Yeah, prime premium information. Yeah. That's all. We don't. Another factor is that like we hated soliciting. Mm-hmm. So like absolutely zero tolerance of soliciting on the website. So you can't sign up and try selling stuff to our clients.
There's this one other career networking platform that there is. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to list any names here, and I'm sure it's great, whatever. But my experience personally, I'll log on maybe like once a month, and I have at least 17 unread messages, and it's something weird like, hey, do you want to go and get your master's in IT or something like that? Random, I'm like, absolutely not. Yeah. Or are you interested in this job? No, I'm not. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, what should I do? Nothing else that you're able to offer me. So shut down the app again.
Yeah. Which is why it's great because it's so specific to our industry, which helps everyone because you're not going to get distractions from one side and you're going to get exactly what you need. So it's a win-win for everybody. So you guys should definitely sign up. It's free. There are premium features that you can pay for, of course, which is for a low fee, but we see a lot of people getting great advantage from the free features as well. So it's completely fine, sign up, take advantage, and and keep growing from there.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Edward.
Thank you for
We're going to have to have you on more often, not just once a season.
I'll be here.
Yeah. And for everyone at home, again, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got value from this experience. I hope that you can put all of this into your own business and innovate everything that you've been doing. Whether you started at the peak of during the COVID time, at the peak of the market, or if you started even before that, it doesn't matter as long as you keep working and as long as you use all the tools available to you. So log on to the Pocket Network today and make sure you change your practices. Make sure you make these adjustments to keep coming up on top of the game. So as always, like we say, change begins at home. So implement everything today.